Your phone rings. It's your son. He's terrified. He says he's been kidnapped and the criminals are demanding $50,000 or they'll hurt him. His voice is shaking. It sounds exactly like him, the way he says your name, his accent, that little nervous laugh you've heard 1,000 times. So you start reaching for your wallet. But here's the nightmare that's already happening to real families right now. That's not your son calling. It's artificial intelligence. A voice cloning scam is one of the most devastating and emotionally manipulative attacks on consumers that we've ever seen. And they are working. Families have lost their life savings to these calls in the last 6 months alone. The technology is so good that even parents who know what deepfakes are can't tell the difference in real time. The panic of thinking your child is in danger short-circuits your brain. So Savis, a new app launched this month, is trying to do something radical, give families a fighting chance by helping them verify if a voice on a call is actually who they claim to be. This is the story of an AI threat that's already here and the defense that's racing against the clock. Voice cloning used to be science fiction. 2 years ago, you needed a professional voice actor and a recording studio to create a convincing fake voice. Today, all you need is 90 seconds of audio, a YouTube video, a TikTok clip, a phone recording, run it through an AI voice model, and you can generate unlimited speech in that person's voice. The technology comes from companies like 11 Labs, Anthropic, and OpenAI. Their tools were built for good reasons. Filmmakers want to dub movies into different languages without hiring dozens of actors. Accessibility tools help people with speech disabilities speak again. Podcast creators can clone narration to make production faster. The problem is the same tools that solve those problems also enable fraud at scale. A criminal in Romania can target families in the United States without ever leaving their apartment. The model learns the acoustic patterns of your voice, the pitch, the rhythm, the way you breathe between words, and recreates them perfectly. When you combine that voice cloning with AI conversation engines like GPT-4, a scammer doesn't just have your voice. They have your voice saying emotionally manipulative things in real time. The speed of this technology outpaced the defenses people had built. Nobody expected to need a tool to prove their own family's identity. Here's how it actually works. A scammer finds a victim's name and phone number online, Facebook, LinkedIn, public records. They scrape 90 seconds of the victim's son or daughter's voice from YouTube, Instagram, or TikTok. They feed that audio into a voice cloning model and it generates a synthetic voice layer. Then they write a panic script: kidnapping, accident, bail money needed, act now or someone dies, and feed that into a large language model. The AI generates a conversation that sounds panicked and specific, mentioning details pulled from public social media, like a school or a sports team. Next, they call the parent's phone number with that synthetic voice. The parent hears their child screaming that they've been taken. The AI asks questions in real time to maintain the illusion. If the parent says something unexpected, the AI adapts. The scammer stays on a second line, feeding prompts to the AI to keep the conversation going, making demands for money. The whole thing feels live and spontaneous. The parent's amygdala, the fear center of their brain, is screaming danger. Their judgment collapses. They wire the money before rational thought catches up. That's the architecture of the attack. The genius and the horror of it is that it weaponizes parental love itself. Let's make this concrete with actual cases. In May 2026, a retired schoolteacher in Colorado received a call from what she thought was her grandson. He said his car had broken down and he needed $3,000 to fix it. His voice was panicked, apologetic. He sounded exactly like him. She drove to the bank and withdrew the money before calling his actual number and realizing the call was a fake. In that 3-minute window, the entire scam succeeded. In another case in June, a father in California received a call saying his daughter had been in a car accident and needed bail money immediately. The synthetic voice was so close to his daughter's that he didn't ask for a callback number, he just paid. When he finally reached his daughter at her office, she was safe and alive. The money was gone. These aren't isolated incidents. The FBI has documented hundreds of confirmed voice cloning fraud cases in the last 12 months alone, with losses topping $20 million. That's not counting unreported cases or families too embarrassed to go public. The scale is growing exponentially because the barrier to entry for the criminal is almost zero, and the payoff per target can be huge. You might think the solution is obvious: ask a security question only your child would know. But here's why that fails. First, AI can't spontaneously invent knowledge it doesn't have, so early versions would just refuse to answer or say something generic. That's a tell, but newer conversation engines, paired with social engineering, adapt. The scammer on the second line feeding prompts to the AI can listen to the parent and make real-time calls about what kind of detail might convince them. They say things like, "I don't remember, you asked me that. Why are you asking me security questions? This is an emergency." The urgency overrides the verification. Another old defense is caller ID verification. But many VoIP systems spoof phone numbers. The incoming call actually shows as coming from your child's real number. Your phone's security layer was already defeated before you even answered. That's why Savis takes a completely different approach. It's not trying to ask the caller questions or verify metadata. Instead, it's analyzing the voice itself, looking for telltale signs of synthesis that a human ear would miss. It runs a deepfake detection algorithm that listens for the subtle artifacts that remain when voice is generated by AI, even by the newest and best models. If this technology spreads unchecked, the implication is genuinely scary. Right now, voice cloning scams target families. The emotional vulnerability of parents makes them high-value victims. But that's not where it ends. Imagine voice cloning applied to authentication systems. A bank employee verifies your identity by voice, but it's actually a criminal mimicking you. Imagine boardroom fraud, a CFO authorizing a multi-million-dollar wire transfer. Except it's a synthetic voice of the CEO. Imagine political elections, deepfake videos of candidates saying things they never said, released weeks before voting, with no time to debunk them. The technology itself is amoral. It was built to solve real problems like accessibility and localization. But in the hands of someone with criminal intent and zero regard for ethics, it becomes a tool for mass manipulation. What Savis represents is a recognition that the problem is already here and consumers need defense mechanisms. This isn't a distant future threat. This is happening this week. Families are losing their life savings. Trust in voice, one of the last unmediated ways we verify identity, is collapsing. And that's a systemic threat to how humans relate to each other. Here's what you can actually do right now. First, sign up for Savis or a similar detection app. During any phone call that seems suspicious, especially if it involves urgent money requests, Savis can listen in real time and analyze the voice on the line. It doesn't record anything without consent. It just provides instant feedback telling you whether that voice shows signs of being AI-generated. If it flags the call as synthetic, you hang up immediately and call your family member on a number you know is real to verify. Second, set up a family code word or phrase. If your child is ever in real trouble, they'll use that code in the first sentence. A scammer probably won't think to do that. Third, take 3 seconds to verify before you act. If someone calls demanding money, don't move until you've called them back on a number you independently looked up. Hang up this call. Make a new call. Those 30 seconds break the emotional hijack and give your rational brain time to catch up. Fourth, educate your family about what voice cloning sounds like. It's not perfect yet. There are subtle glitches, weird pauses, unnatural resonances if you listen closely. But the barrier to noticing those artifacts is lowering as the models improve. Fifth, report suspected voice scams to the FBI's IC3 system and local law enforcement. Even if you caught the scam before losing money, the data helps them track and prosecute the networks doing this. Here's what matters going forward. Voice cloning is improving every month. Detection tools like Savis are playing catch-up. The real solution isn't a single app. It's a whole ecosystem of defenses. Regulation is already beginning. The United States is moving toward legislation requiring AI voice providers to implement watermarking, synthetic voice detection built into phones, and liability for criminals who misuse their tools. But regulation moves slowly and criminals move fast. In the meantime, the battlefield is your family's phone. The moment someone picks up a call claiming to be someone they love in trouble, the cognitive hijack begins. That's where apps like Savis matter. They give you a technical lifeline in that panicked moment. The deeper lesson is that trust now requires verification. For most of human history, hearing someone's voice was proof enough that they were who they claimed to be. That certainty just evaporated. We're entering an era where you may need to ask for a voice fingerprint, a code word, or a live video call before you move money or make a major decision. That's not paranoia. That's just how the world works now. What this story shows us is that AI's power to deceive grows faster than our ability to detect the deception. The winners in this arms race will be the people and families who stay one step ahead, who build their own defenses before they need them. That's not just smart, that's survival. Follow for daily AI news.